Hello everyone, I am Professor Nayan Asne, Department of Information Technology, Parvati Bai Genba Mose College of Engineering, Vagoli. So in this session we'll start with the unit 2, that is requirement analysis. In the previous unit we have also seen the same topic but in short. In this unit we'll see in briefly what actually the requirement analysis is, what is the traditional approaches and what is the object oriented analysis process. So the second unit contains the object-oriented analysis process and the use case modeling and the class modeling. So use cases, class modeling and other behavioral use cases we have seen in the first unit also, but in second unit we have given a much briefly and largely with each and every content and topic of each and every modeling process, that is might be your use case modeling, that is your class modeling, or any behavioral modeling, then structural modeling, then we can have the different classes, UML diagrams, everything is given in briefly. So firstly we'll start with the object oriented analysis process. So the object first, while starting with the object oriented, I will just give the brief of the structural process, which is the traditional one. So the structural analysis design approach is the traditional approach of the software development, which is based on the waterfall model. So whenever we talk about the structural model, we have to always concentrate on your flowcharts and the traditional approaches, which gives us some procedures, some models, some structural flow of the design and the unit. So whenever we are going with the object oriented, everything comes into the object, and whenever we think of the structural analysis, everything goes with the procedures and the models. So the structural analysis is the traditional approach on which we have developed, or the scientists have developed, the object oriented analysis process, which is much simpler than the structural analysis, which gives the more characteristics than the structural analysis. So nowadays we are using the object oriented analysis process in the requirement analysis phase of the software engineering. So let's start with the object oriented analysis process. It is the process of discovering where a development team understands and models the requirement of the system. So this process is discovering of the understanding and the models of the requirements of the software system. So in object oriented analysis, requirements are organized as object and are integrated in the process and the data. Means all the things are organized in the object and the data and process is treated as the same. In structural analysis, the data and process is treated separately, but in object-oriented analysis, the data and the process both are combined, both are integrated to provide the object view. So the object-oriented analysis begins at look at the problem domain. Means the object-oriented analysis begin looking at the problem domain, what actually the problem is, and depending on the problem, try to find out the solution in the form of the object. So its aim is to produce a conceptual model of the information that exists in the area of analysis. So the requirement analysis has the different variety of the sources, such as the formal documents, the written requirement statements, the interviews with the stakeholders. Now the stakeholders can be anyone from internal and external of the system, then the interested parties or the methods. The final result of the object-oriented analysis will appear in the form of conceptual model that describe what system functionality is required to do. So we'll see the functions. We'll see the functionalities of the object-oriented analysis. So the first function is to find the object. Now, if we start with the object-oriented analysis, what we have to firstly do? We have to find the object. Second, what object is find? Organize the object. Whichever object is find in first stage, we have to organize the object by creating the object model. This is the second step. Now, the third step is explain the object communication with each others. That means we have to communicate between the objects using the communication link, a proper communication link. Then the fourth step is to set the characteristics and the behavior of the object. Setting the characteristics on the behavior of the object, that means you have to set particular data types for the particular object. Your data structures may be come into the picture for the object. So these things needed to be set for the object. And the fifth step is set the internals of the object, the internal communication, the internal things, the internal attributes, your methods we have to set for the object. Now again I am repeating the 5 functions of the object oriented process. The first is to find the object, second is to organize the object with the object model, the third is explain the communication between the objects, the fourth is to set the characteristics and the behavior of the object, and the fifth one is to set the internals of the object. Now we have to see the advantage of this process. What actually are the advantage of the OOA, that is object oriented analysis, over the traditional approach, that is the structural analysis? So the first one is it provides the better performance than the structural analysis. The second is the focus is on the data rather than the procedure, as the structural analysis consists of the procedures and the models. So in object oriented we focus on the data rather than the procedures. The third one is it applies the data encapsulation and data hiding. So object oriented has the facility to apply the data encapsulation and the data hiding. So the third party should not be able to modify or to read the code which is developed by the developer. And the fourth one is it can easily upgrade to small or the larger system. It also supports the code reusability. As it is object oriented, we can easily call the method from one model to another model, so we can use the code reliability or the reusability. So the object oriented analysis is the new dimension to develop the software system. Now this is all about the object oriented analysis process. Now how the object oriented analysis is done, this unit is developed, or this unit is divided into the 3 parts. As I said previously, first was the object oriented process, which gives us the overview of this traditional and the object oriented process, how this work, what are the advantages, what are the functionality of the object oriented process. And the half unit is again divided into 2 units, that is the first contains the use cases and the second is the class modeling. So in the previous session also, in the previous first unit, we have seen the use case diagrams, but in this we'll go very basically with all the use case items, the relationships, the actors and everything. So starting with the use case. So use case model describes the system functional requirements in terms of the use cases. Now in any system, the functionality may act as use cases and the actors, humans, system, hardware may act as a actor. So the purpose of use case diagram is to specify the content of the system, capture the requirement of the system, validate the system architecture, drive the implementation and generate the test case, and it is always developed by the analysis together with the domain experts. So let's see the notations of the use case which are used in use case diagram. Firstly, we'll talk about the actor, how to identify the actor in the system. So actors specify a role played by a user or any other system that interact with the subject. So it may be represented as a role played by the human or the user, or we can say the external hardware or the other subjects. So the actor are always outside the system and interact with the use cases. It provides the input to the system, or you can say it provides input to the use cases, or trying to retrieve the output or get the results from the use cases. So the actor can be human, it may be a system software, it may be a hardware or a timer or a clock, or we can say the event which interrupt or which call some functionality. We have 2 types of actor in use case. First is the primary actor and second is the supportive actor. So the primary actor defines the user goals and which are fulfilled by the system. The primary actor of the use case is the stakeholder that calls the system to deliver one of its service. So it has the goal with respect to the system. The primary actor is one who always trigger the use case. Always remember, the primary actor is the one who always trigger to the use case. And the supportive actor is the external actor in the use case that provide a service to the system under some system design. So these two types of actor we have in a use case. So actor can be anyone. It may be a human, it may be a computer software, it may be a hardware, or it may be a timer or the trigger. So if you take the example of the professor in the college, the professor may teach one subject, the professor may be GFM, the professor may be a researcher, or the professor may be a HOD. So the actor plays the different role in the system. One actor may play different role in a same system. So always remember this, and the primary actor always trigger the use case. So the actor has the responsibility towards the system inputs and has the expectation from the system, that is the output. It gives some input to the system and expects some output from the system. So if you take the example of the library management system, the librarian and the user means the student. If you take the student example of the college, it may be a librarian and the student. The both are the actors, and your library account, your issuing the books, then returning the books, these may be the use cases, means the functionality which are triggered by these two actors. That first actor is your librarian and second actor is your user or the student. So let's see some notations. This is the use case as we have seen in the first unit also. Then communication link, that needs to be communicated between actors and between the use cases or the actor and use cases. Then we have the system boundary, in which we can see the rectangular box. We can give the rectangular box with the system. This is the system boundary for the particular functionality, or we can say the module in which the functionality occurs. Then we have the relationship, which is the extend. From one use case may extend the another use case. That means the dotted arrow is there with the pointing head. The child use case is always at the bottom and pointing head is always to the parent use case. That means you may have some behavior from the another use case. You may use some behavior from the another use case. Now the login account uses the invalid password behavior or invalid password use case. Tip is always to the base class, that is a parent class. Then we have the include, that means the place order includes the login use case. We have the generalization. Generalization means this is part of child use case is part of parent use case. So the store patient record on the computer files are always the part of store patient records in a paper file. So this is the use case, this is the child use case. Child use case always point with the solid arrow with the parent use case. So the generalization is the relationship of the parent-child relationship between the two use cases. Then we have the use case diagram, which we have seen in the last unit also. We'll see a new diagram in this. This is the new diagram with the actor generalization. Suppose when you are going to purchase something, directly the manager will not attend you. You are attended by the technical person who gives you the information about the goods or the services or the products. Then they will check for the user registration, your credit points if you are going for the credit card for issuing the goods, and then the salesperson will attend you. So this is the generalization for the particular person, that is a salesperson. The generalization is from the sales supervisor and the technical person to the salesperson. Then salesperson will place the order and check out for the details. So this use case diagram is the vehicle sales system with generalization of your actors. These two are the generalization of the salesperson. So in this session we'll see until the use case only. In the next session we'll go for the class modeling and some examples of the use case modeling. So I hope you have understand this session. I request you to go with the below link for the more details. You will find the more examples here. If you have any doubt, please comment in a comment section. Thank you.